Hello, friends. It's great to be back together again for another episode of Pastor's Ponderings. Now, as you've come to church throughout the years, I'm sure you've noticed that the people leading the liturgy often dress a little bit differently than you do when you're sitting in the pew. They have all sorts of colorful attire on that looks a little different than things that we'd see as we're out in the world walking down the street. And so today, I'm excited to spend some time and to talk about what all of that different clothing means that the clergy and the leaders of worship tend to wear as they guide us through our times of worship together. And so today, I am excited to spend a little bit of time as we begin talking about liturgical vestments. During a liturgy, when we look up and we see the people leading wearing all sorts of different vestments, those vestments do more than just look nice. They're not just a fashion statement that church leadership likes to make, but they tell us a lot about what's going on. Often they symbolize different attributes that are important to persons of Christian faith. Sometimes they tell us a little bit about what's going to happen as we gather together during worship, and they tell us about who is there leading us in our time of worship. The vestment that I'm wearing right now is really sort of the base vestment that many different sorts of people wear when they're leading a liturgy in the church. This white vestment, that's a full-length white vestment, is called an alb. And basically the alb is a covering that lets us know we're in a time of worship, but also the bright whiteness of this vestment is to symbolize purity. And so it reminds us of the purity that our Christian faith calls us to. And so, especially as we look forward and we see people dressed in albs, we're reminded of the purity of the church and the purity of Christ and the purity that we aspire to and are called to attempt to live. Often, you will see Pastor Short or myself or some of our guests who come among us wearing this garment that goes over my head and droops down over my shoulders in front of me. This is called a stole. Now, part of what the stole does is it's a different color each week depending on what season of the church year we're in. And so vestments, one of the roles that they play is simply helping to announce the liturgical color of the season that we're in. But also, the stole will tell you a lot about the type of person that is in front of you when you're gathered together in church. When a person wears a stole, particularly one of this fashion, that would go over your head and droop down both shoulders so you have the two strands coming down in front of you, this would indicate that the person is ordained. So when a person wears a stole, you know that you're looking at someone who is a pastor or a priest within the church. Another vestment that you'll see someone wear just about every single Sunday here at Trinity is this one. It looks somewhat like a big oversized poncho, but it's definitely not something you'd want to wear out in the rain. This is reminiscent of traditional attire from way back in the early church, but we call this a chasuble. And what the chasuble will signify is, one, it'll also help announce the liturgical color, as is quite blatantly apparent. There's a lot of color here on me right now. But also, the chasuble will tell you that what is going to be happening as we gather in worship is going to be Eucharistic. And so the pastor or the priest will put on a chasuble when they are going to be the celebrant, when they are going to be the person leading worship in a liturgy or a mass that will culminate in the Eucharistic feast. So when we're going to have communion, you'll see the person leading wearing this chasuble vestment. Another vestment that folks at Trinity have become accustomed to seeing each and every week is this one right here. Again, this will help announce the liturgical color of the season, and this looks a little bit like the chasuble, but if you notice, it's not open all the way through, but it actually has the arms closed in, so it has some large sleeves cut into it, and that it's closed all the way down each side. This vestment is called a Dalmatic, and this is the vestment that someone who is a deacon would wear. So here at Trinity, you'll see that our liturgical deacons are always vested not in a regular stole and chasuble, but in a Dalmatic. Now, deacons also do get to wear a stole, but it's a little bit different than what clergy would wear. The deacon stole, as you can see, it comes over one shoulder, and then it comes down diagonally across their front. So, you'll notice that for a pastor or a priest, we wear the stole that has the 2 strips coming down over our shoulders down the front of us. For a deacon, you can always identify a deacon because they'll be wearing a stole too, that it'll go over one shoulder and it'll come down diagonally and wrap across the front of them. So friends, that's just a little bit on some of the most common liturgical vestments that you'll see around here at Trinity on any given Sunday morning. There's still quite a few more vestments that are used in the church, and I'm hoping over the next few weeks we'll have some time to delve into and talk about some of them. But this hopefully gives you a taste and gives you a little insight into the significance of the things that we wear during church, into the meaning that they hold, and into the story and the information that they share with us as we look upon them.